Hello there, everybody. Happy Thursday. It's once again time for our Facebook Global Travel Update. Peter Greenberg here with you, coming to you. Most of you didn't guess it where I was coming from. I posted it. I'm going to tell you where I am. I'm in the city of Tulsa, Oklahoma today, one of America's most underrated cities. And you know that the minute you get here because there's such great history here, the Art Deco architecture, a thriving music and food scene that intersects with a legendary road going west, otherwise known as Route 66. We've been here this week shooting some of my PBS television show, The Travel Detective, and of course we're broadcasting Ion Travel for CBS Radio this Saturday. We'll give you that note a little bit later on, but we've got so much to talk about in the news. And of course, please send in your questions as you always do, and I'll do my best to answer them. This is a terrible week if you're watching the news in terms of what's going on in Afghanistan and the attempted airlift of so many people in such a short amount of time under such incredible odds. Some of you may have seen the videos of the U.S. Air Force C-17 attempting to taxi and take off with people literally clinging to the wings and the undercarriage. But I wanted to show you another picture. Don't post it yet till I set it up. I want to show you another picture for anybody who ever has complained about the size of their seat or how crowded their plane was, or about bad airline service. Take a look at the interior of this C-17 that took off from Afghanistan. Post that picture. That's right, you're looking at 800 plus people inside one plane. Did we lose the picture there? There it is. 800 plus people inside one plane. Now, does that represent the largest number of people ever put in one plane? Actually, it doesn't. I did a little checking here. Back in 1975, on a much smaller plane in terms of size, a Qantas original 747 Model 100, when they had the big hurricane in Darwin in northeastern Australia, they airlifted out about 600 people, and they literally were sitting everywhere. They weren't even on seats. But the most number of people ever on board one plane was back in 1991. It was an El Al 747 repatriating Ethiopian Jews. Get ready for this. 1,080 people on one plane. Wow. But this is quite a scene. It's going to be repeated often. Let's say our prayers and wish everybody the best, because it's a very fluid and sensitive situation, to say the least, in Afghanistan. All right, back to other news I want to share with you. It's vaccination on parade right now. Every government, every private sector company is grappling with this, how to do it. Well, Canada just announced 3 days ago that if you want to board a plane in Canada, we've already talked about cruise lines. If you want to board a plane or a train or a cruise line in Canada, you have to show proof of vaccination. Now, we don't have any U.S. airlines making that requirement for passengers yet. However, get ready. They're making that requirement for their employees. We talked about this last week. United Airlines requiring vaccination for their employees before October 27th. Frontier now has done it. Amtrak has now announced it. By November 1st, all of their employees will be vaccinated. So we've got lots of things to talk about and get ready for it. We also have cities, right? We have cities like San Francisco and New Orleans saying, if you want to go to a restaurant, you have to show proof of vaccination. We have restaurants on their own in Seattle saying, if you want to eat here, you got to show proof of vaccination. Of course, we've got movie theaters coming on board, Broadway theaters in September. That's only next month. It's happening more and more and more. And of course, at the same time, just when you thought you might be able to remove your masks on a flight, that's not going to happen because of the increase in cases and the Delta variant. The TSA now extending that all mask wearing rule on public transportation, including planes, through January 18th of 2022. So they're doing it another 3 months. The original decision date was supposed to be September 13th. They didn't wait for that. They announced that just a few days ago. So now that is really getting a lot of consideration from the FAA and the airlines, since the FAA is now reporting over 3,800 cases of unruly passengers, and an overwhelming number of those cases have been about refusing to wear masks. One sort of bright side to this, you've seen the videos of all those passengers getting duct taped to their seats, including a 13-year-old kid on an American Airlines flight. Well, the optics are not exactly great for anybody here, not to mention the airlines. So United Airlines, in an internal memo to their own flight attendants, basically said, you can't use duct tape anymore. We have other means. Really? Okay, I'll tell you the other means. the flex tie handcuffs, the plastic handcuffs that every airline carries on board. So instead of being duct taped to the seat, they may be basically handcuffed to the stanchions of their chair. But you may not see any more video of the duct tape. So much for that theater in the air. Now, one light note I want to share with you, and what I'm about to show you, and normally I do not overtly promote an airline. I don't show their ads, but this one is an exception because it's actually real. If you're afraid of heights, don't watch this, but it actually just happened. I'm going to post it right now. We're going to run it in its entirety. I want you to see this. It's from Emirates, and this is not Photoshop, guys. It's real. Let's roll it.
Hi, Mom. I'm on top of the world. The highest person on the planet right now. It's incredible.
Well, if you weren't afraid of heights before, you sure are now. Wow. Unbelievable. Now, if we can only get the airlines to operate on time, we'll be in great shape. Anyway, what an amazing ad. And again, no Photoshop on that one. That actually happened. Okay, moving on. Lots of other stuff to talk about. I'm going to get to your questions in a second. The third quarter is looking very interesting in terms of air travel. Because of the Delta variant, kids going back to school, the onward bookings, the forward-looking bookings have dropped significantly in the third quarter. We're talking really after September 10th. I've been talking about that last week as well. Even Southwest Airlines announced that the bookings have dropped so much they may not get to a profit in that third quarter. And for an airline like Southwest that hardly ever misses a profit, even in the toughest times, that's telling you something. What does that mean? Get ready for the law of supply and demand to start benefiting you. Airfares are going to drop after September 10th. Get ready for that. All right. Now, I'm in Tulsa. I told you about a thriving food scene. I told you about great history. This is a city of reconciliation because, as you may remember now, but we certainly didn't remember when I grew up, the 1921 race massacre here. Well, that happened in May of 1921. It was just 100 years since, and people are finally coming to grips with that piece of history. And this city is now trying to come to grips with it as well. When you come here, you need to walk over to the Greenwood section and see that story. Go over to their museum and relive that story to understand what nobody ever taught me in a textbook. I never knew about it. And if you dug deeper, even in those days, it wasn't called a massacre. It was called the race riot, which it clearly was not. But the city has come a long way in dealing with it, in recognizing it, and moving towards reconciliation. They even have an amazing reconciliation park here, and I encourage you to come see it when you're in Tulsa. But the other thing I want you to encourage to do is the music scene. I was at the Mercury Lounge last night. It's about 15 years old. This is Austin before it was Austin, and Nashville before it was Nashville. The music here is incredible. You may remember when we were in Mexico, I had some mariachis come by. Well, we're going to outdo those guys today. Paul Benjamin, come on in here from the Paul Benjamin Band. He was just playing at the Mercury Lounge last night, and he's been playing at the Colony for the last 10 years here. He's going to play a song from his new album, and the song is about travel, so get ready. It's called Something.
Well, I stopped waking and I catch the drift. Hear a sound from over the rift. Well, my coffee's black, but my mind is swift. Thinking about something. Well, I gotta get moving, gotta grip the wheel. Get behind the rolling heap of steel. Feel the way that I used to feel. Worrying about nothing. I was born with a soul that has no brakes. Oh, I look back to the interstate. I learned to speed on the straightaway. On my way to something. I don't care if the rain is high. Day turns to night, the heart goes long. We'll be dealing the diamonds and singing the songs. On our way to something.
All right. Thank you, Paul. PaulBenjaminBand.com. He's going to come back later with another song about Tulsa, by the way. Let's get to some of your questions while we've got it. I'm going to scroll down here, or actually, at this point, scroll up. All right. Hello from Alabama. Buenos dias from Patrick. All right. Colleen Casey's in France. Okay. Or just got back from France. Had a terrific time. All right. Aloha from Williamsburg. Happy Thursday from Rwanda. Hello, Peter. Hope to see you soon. Peter was our driver when we were there with the president, Paul Kagame, when we did Royal Tour of Rwanda. Peter Coe, greetings from the University of Wisconsin in Madison. By the way, recent survey just came out this week. I'm talking about it in a couple of days on what the most stressed cities are in America. They did a survey based on income, work stress, health stress, COVID-19 cases, all sorts of metrics to figure out the most stressed city in America. You know what it was? Cleveland. You know what the least stressed city was in the bottom three of the least stressed cities? You'll be happy to know, Peter. It was Madison, Wisconsin. The number one least stressed city in America, South Burlington, Vermont. Go figure. Okay. All right. Orange County saying hi. Zach is saying good to hear from you. All right. Laura's leaving next week to London. I understand I need a PCR test within 48 hours. Is that still the case? It is. Also, we're going from London to Paris. Do I need the same? You do. And there you go. By the way, everything I'm telling you now is subject to change, but the UK is still open. France is still open. I know some of you are worried about Italy changing their protocols. The only protocols they may change, it's not going to bar us. It's just going to require an additional test when we get there. That's my information right now. Okay. All right. Here we go. Listening from a suburb of Los Angeles. Los Angeles is nothing but suburbs. Listen, you know what my problem is with Los Angeles? And by the way, I live there. It's 86 separate incorporated cities in desperate search of a community. So saying you're listening from a suburb of Los Angeles has no resonance here. By the way, you want a community? Check out Tulsa. These guys know how to do it. All right. And by the way, Tulsa has a program. I'm going to tell you about this. It's called Tulsa Remote. If you want to move here, they will pay you $10,000. I'm not making this up. They will write you a check for $10,000 if you agree to move here. And you can't believe how many people are doing it. We're talking about 1,000 people a month are doing that. Check it out. By the way, that's being funded by a foundation here. Tulsa happens to be one of the most philanthropic cities in America, if not the most. So Tulsa is spending $10 million a month to pay you to come. So I think it's TulsaRemote.com. That's their shameless plug. Now you have it. Okay. Greetings from Florida from Ben. Your thoughts on when the U.S. will lift or open the border with Europe and Canada. The problem is still the same. It's whether or not they're going to recognize vaccines that have not been approved by the FDA. We're still hung up on AstraZeneca and the Sino vaccine. As soon as we hear something, we'll let you know. But right now, not happening right away. Here's one from Sandy. Leave for Italy September 8th for 3 weeks. Italy is supposed to update their country rules on August 30th. Any idea how may this affect Americans? As I just said, Sandy, my guess is it may require an additional test once you get there, but they're not going to close the doors. All right, Lisa from Syracuse. Okay. Somebody just reacted to the Emirates ad saying, looks like something Tom Cruise would do. Well, Tom Cruise actually did that, but he wasn't that high, but he did that. Yeah, that's a wow ad. All right, hello from Miami. Okay, a couple of oh my goshes on that Emirates ad. I thought I'd get a couple of oh my goshes on the video or the still picture of the C-17 interior leaving Afghanistan. Okay, Cindy says, my knees got weak just watching it. I'm telling you, even if you've never been afraid of heights, that'll do it. That one commercial will do it. All right. Terry says, greetings from the California Historic Route 66 Association. Then Terry, you already know where I am. I'm basically on Route 66 right here in Tulsa. Such great history here. I drove it the other day in a 66 Ford Mustang convertible, red. Come on. Was that typecasting or what? But you know what? You see every neon sign, the old filling stations, the old single-story motels. I mean, it's there. And great stories that are still being told. Okay. Let's see. I'm going down here again. Hold on. I'm losing a few of these guys. I'm going to go back up here. Give me a second because I don't want to miss anybody. Okay, James says I'm going Chicago to London and Munich, scheduled for September. I assume all UK protocols must be observed, even if I'm transiting through LHR. Well, no, if you're transiting through LHR, you don't have a problem. But if you're entering the UK, remember, you are officially not entering the UK until you go through immigration in London. So if you're just transiting, no. But all the other EU rules apply as well. Okay. Alrighty, now let's see what we have here. I'm looking here. Oh, someone likes Paul's lyrics. Born with a soul that has no brakes. Paul, see, they're listening. All right, howdy from Dallas, leaving for Kenya this weekend. Congratulations. We're leaving, by the way, for Tanzania in about a week and a half. We'll be broadcasting from there. Greetings from Naples, from Ted. Carlos, okay. Sarah says hello from Hong Kong in quarantine. That's my buddy Carlos from Fire Island, one of my fellow firemen. Is the test to U.S. return a PCR or antigen? Both are acceptable. Both are acceptable. When you're coming back, you've got to show a negative COVID-19 test within 72 hours of your return, and that can either be a PCR or an antigen, okay? Okay. Thinking of booking a tour in Europe at the end of December, do you think it will be safe from COVID? I can't answer that. But what I will tell you this, if you're vaccinated and you play by the rules and you don't have a lot of pre-existing medical conditions and you consult your doctor, not me, then get your doctor to tell you it's okay to go. But from an experiential point of view, I would have no trouble going, right, with those caveats. All right, hello from Ventura, from Lindy. Hello from Oil City, PA. Hello. Could you explain how the CLEAR program works in conjunction with TSA PreCheck? Happy to do it. CLEAR is a biometric system. You apply for it. By the way, if you have an American Express Platinum card, they basically rebate the cost, about $179, and you don't have to pay for it at all. And other credit cards may do the same. But what CLEAR does, let's go back to the history of PreCheck. It was designed to be a trusted traveler program so that you wouldn't have to stand in line with everybody else. You wouldn't have to take out your laptop, remove your shoes or your jacket, and you could go through. It was supposed to streamline the process. When it first came out, not everybody signed up for it, and the TSA wanted more people to sample it. So what did they do? Arbitrarily, they would move people from the regular TSA line over to PreCheck. They had no idea why they were there. They thought they did something wrong. And of course, inside of every one of their pockets were things they'd had in there since 1947. And so the lines just got crazy, and it made no sense. Here comes PreCheck. Here comes CLEAR, which is a much faster way to go. They basically read your eyes. That takes about 30 seconds or less. They stamp your boarding pass, and you move to the front of the PreCheck line. Is that worth it to me? You bet it is. Is it worth it to you? You bet it is. And it's now being applied at concert venues, sporting events, Hawaii. A lot of places are adapting their technology to speed up the process and to maintain the verification and the accuracy of the security. So it's a win-win for me. Looking for a deal on a Panama Canal cruise for January 2022. Have you bid and did I do a full transit? Yes, I have done it a number of times. I did a full transit, but keep in mind the 2022 cruises are almost all sold out because many of those Panama Canal cruises are part of world tours. You remember, the 180-degree world cruise. So do it now. All right. Come out and drive 66 in California. We'd love to see you on the Mother Road. Hey, I was on the Mother Road 2 days ago, but I will come out and see you in California as well. And yes, Oklahoma does a great job of promoting Route 66. That comes from Terry. Any updates on Hawaii heading in October? Yeah, same principles and protocols in place. You got to do the testing, and you got to show vaccination right now. But keep in mind, the prices are still sky high. And you're going in October, they may come down. But right now, if you're on a budget, you won't have one. Terry says, greetings from Temecula. That's right, the wine capital of Southern California. Hello, Terry. Okay, leaving for Kenya. There you go. Finally making it down to Colombia next week. Nice to see that Colombia is starting to open. Okay, greetings from the Channel Islands. I applied for Clear and failed the confirmation questions 4 times. I think they have me confused with someone else. Please help. Send me an email, Bob, peter@petergreenberg.com. Give me all the details and any correspondence you have with Clear. I'll check in with them to see whether or not you're in the witness relocation program or not and see what happens. Betty says, greetings from Colorado on my way to Cancun. What a night with Grace there last night. Yeah, I know. Good luck with the storms. Sil Wong says, I'm a flight attendant, often share your tips with my passengers. Thank you. Well, you're welcome. Sandy says, hold on. What kind of mask are you wearing for long haul travel? We're thinking of the KN95s. My husband can't handle the N95s. You know what? KN95 is fine. The N95s are fine. I was wearing a cloth mask for a while. Many airlines now are banning them. So I'm back to the KN95 or the N95. They're both good. Okay. What's the current status with Canada? You can go. You can fly over there if you show proof of vaccination. They still can't come here. We haven't done the reciprocity yet. I'm going to Iraq soon. Anything I need to know? How much time do you have, Louise? Email me and we'll have a longer conversation about that. Okay. Stacy has a very good comment here. Make dinner reservations for Hawaii soon. They're still short-staffed. You bet they're short-staffed. It's even worse. And they're going to stay short-staffed until when? Kids go back to school. Because many of the workers there don't have daycare. They don't have childcare. They can't afford it anyway. And they're staying home. But September, I call it the magic month for so many other reasons, mostly due to weather. But now, hopefully, fingers crossed, it's the magic month for people getting back to work. All right, let's keep going here. All right. Let's go back to a few more of your, okay. Let me read some of the questions you guys actually sent in this week. But before I do that, let's talk about the photo of the week. All right, let's post that. There it is. Anybody know where that is? If you're in California, you do. That's Highway 1. That's the Bixby Bridge. And what's cool about that, you're just outside of Big Sur. There it is. And it was taken by Ben Barocas. He said, my wife and I were in California heading north on Pacific Coast Highway, where we had to stop for this iconic photo. The biggest problem about California Highway 1 is if you want to take the photo, you better stop because too many people lose, they just don't get it. And you got to pay attention to the road. It's such a beautiful road, such a beautiful highway. And there it is. So thank you, Ben, for taking the shot, sending it in. And if you've got a candidate for your photo of the week, just send it in to us, peter@petergreenberg.com. And if we like it, we post it, we give you the credit. And we thank everybody for doing that over these last couple of months. All right, some of the pre-sent questions that we're going to get to. Here's one from Linda. Do I recommend going or not going to Paris this month? I recommend going. Here's one from Leslie, and this is an interesting one because of a sort of an evolving situation. I'm supposed to be on the September 22nd sailing of the Silver Sea Silver Moon. We were just on that ship. In fact, we did Facebook Live from the Silver Moon, from Athens to Venice. Not sure what to think about COVID situation, fires, or cruise ship in Venice. We've heard nothing. Thoughts? Yes, here's the deal. No problem at all going on the ship. You know it's 100% vaccine compliance, and you will be tested port side before you're even allowed to be on the ship, even if you can show vaccination proof. Once that's underway, you got to wear masks on the ship, but you know what? In the cabins and for eating, you don't. And of course, the shore excursions, each one you're allowed to go off without having to be escorted. You can actually do it on your own. But you asked other questions about the fires in Greece. Still happening, but they're coming down. When we were there, they were still going up. Same thing in Turkey. But keep in mind one other thing. There may be, emphasis on the word maybe, one if not two ports either substituted or canceled on this voyage based on the condition of the fires. So be aware of that. And also be aware of the fact that when you get to Venice, you will not be sailing in the Grand Canal. You're not going to be parking next to the Daniele or the Gritty. You'll be parking a good part, good ways away. They will then get you by car back into the center of town. But just know about that, okay? Here's one from Beverly. U.S. tourists in France getting the health pass. How difficult is it? It's not that difficult. It may take some time, but right now you don't need it. Your proof of vaccination is all you need right now. That pass is really for the French and other members of the EU. It may expand to us. If you want to get it, it's fine, but you don't need it. Michelle says, when should we book tickets to Europe with family miles? I didn't know there was such a thing called family miles. I think what you meant was, when should we book tickets to Europe with our family using miles? And the answer for that is yesterday. Listen to my radio show this Saturday. I've got on there a guy who just wrote a book called Mileage Maniac. He figured out a way to earn 40 million miles. And listen to what he has to say about when you should be using your miles. All right? Stay tuned for that show on Saturday. In the meantime, my general answer to you is redeem them yesterday. Get off this Facebook when we're done. Start doing it. Lisa says, I'm fully vaccinated and mask up willingly, and I'm supposed to go to Tahiti from LAX on 8/31. That's coming up. Okay to go? You betcha. Okay to go. Just bring your wallet. You know why? It may not be expensive to get to Tahiti, but it's somewhat pretty expensive to be there. Look, I love Tahiti, but I don't really relish the idea of getting an estimate for a Diet Coke. See what I mean? So budget accordingly. Can I discuss the travel situation in the Canary Islands for August? Both people are vaccinated. The answer is you can go. You can go. They really take their cue from Spain. And again, even though they're not really part of the EU in that respect, directly, you can do it. But bring all your documentation. Ali says, I read that Turkey went on the highest risk list. What is the COVID-19 situation like there? Look, the level 4 do not travel advisories apply to 80% of the globe right now. It's ridiculous. Greece is on the level 4 list. Right? Antarctica is on the level 4 list. I mean, are penguins glowing in the dark? No, they're not. Look, I understand why they're doing it, but to me, I'm less concerned about the vaccination level of where I'm going. I'm very concerned about the vaccination level of the people who want to go. So if you're vaccinated and you can show proof of vaccination and you're going to wear the mask and you're going to act responsibly and you're going to check with your physician to make sure that he or she thinks it's okay for you to go based on your own medical condition and your own medical history, why wouldn't you go, right? A level 4 do not travel advisory based on health right now is CYA time in so many respects. A level 4 do not travel advisory in terms of other factors like Yemen or Syria or Chechnya or Kabul, take that one seriously. But there are 196 countries in the world, and I'm running out of countries I wouldn't go to. I say this every week. I'm not being cavalier. I'm not being irresponsible. I pay attention. I read those travel advisories. Most people don't. They just hear the word travel advisory and they don't go. So do yourself a favor. Don't just take my word for it. Read the travel advisory. Read what it says. Then figure out where you're going within that country. If Cincinnati is on fire, by the way, it's not, is that going to stop me from going to Cleveland? Well, it might, because Cleveland's so stressed. But you know what I'm saying. Do your homework. It's a big world out there. You can't paint with a broad brush. It's not fair to anybody, including you. All right. Here's one. Train's going by. No passenger train, but about 6 times a day, the big freight trains come lumbering through as well. Heading where? West. That's what it is. Anyway, let me go back to one more question here. Teresa says, is it true the travel recovery has slowed? It all depends on what you mean by recovery. It's seasonal. We're getting into the fall, and travel in the fall tends to slow, right? What we're thinking about happening here is as leisure travel subsides a little bit, business travel will start to come up. It won't match it, but it will replace some of the drop in the leisure travel. What that means is, at least in the front of the cabin, airfares are going to start to go up. In the back of the cabin, they won't. They will go down. And if you see some of the new carriers out there like Avelo and Breeze, they're still offering $29 and $39 fares all around the country. So check those out. John says, is there a trip insurance you can recommend that covers the Delta variant and all of the latest pandemic possible cancellations? You said all. And the answer to your question, John, is no. The insurance business is still not doing a great job in addressing real needs here. We've done this subject before. It needs to be done again. The second largest level of complaints during the pandemic among travelers, first was refunds, second was insurance. There are some insurance policies coming out now that will cover COVID, but look at the exclusions. Make sure you read them and make sure the travel agent who sells you that policy, you're not going to buy it online. Because if I find out you buy it online, I'm coming to your house and slapping you. You need to read the policy. But worse, or I should say more importantly, you need somebody who understands the policy language to read it to you. Any travel agent can sell you travel insurance. This is what you need to do. So do it that way. All right, let me scroll down again here. Hold on a second. We've got some more questions. Okay. All right. Is pre-TSA and clear only for U.S. airports? Yes. However, don't confuse that with pre-clearance. This is from Mary Williams. Pre-clearance is something else. It's been around since 1952. I love it. For those of you who are traveling from Canada, the Bahamas, I believe Bermuda, Ireland, Abu Dhabi, and a few other locations, U.S. Customs officers are in those airports, and you actually clear U.S. Customs there. So that when you land after your 11-hour flight, you don't have to wait in line for customs. You just go get your bags and go home. You've cleared. It's a phenomenal concept. It works. We need it in more airports. We need it in Heathrow. We need it in Charles de Gaulle. We certainly need it in Frankfurt. You know, the high volume airports with American passengers. It works, and it doesn't compromise security. In fact, it actually is in many cases better because they know before you're getting on the plane if you're a bad guy or not, right? So that's what pre-clearance is. But pre-check and clear U.S. airports. Okay. All right, I'm going down here. Hold on a second. I'm looking here. Friends in Melbourne, Australia, in the 7th lockdown and severe restrictions. Australia has prided itself on shutting down. In fact, there's every reason to believe, based on the information I have right now, that Australia will not open for either outside travel in or inside travel out until July of 2022. How nuts is that? Okay. Oh, Louise wants to know pre-clearance. How do we get it? Here's how you get pre-clearance. Are you a U.S. citizen? Do you have a U.S. passport? If you're flying home from those locations I just told you, everybody gets it. That's how you clear U.S. Customs in those airports with U.S. Customs officers in those airports. All right. Sonny says, I just canceled my trip to Israel due to level 4. It's too bad, especially when it was posted by the U.S. State Department. Sonny, I'm telling you, why would you cancel? If Israel's canceling, that's something else. If Israel's locking down and saying no U.S. travelers can go, I get it. But if they're locking down internally, by the way, I was in Greece during the lockdown. I was in Turkey during the lockdown, but I was allowed to go in because I was vaccinated. I'm assuming you've been vaccinated, so you might want to reconsider. Again, if the other country completely locks down, like an Australia situation, you don't have a choice anyway. But as long as you have a choice, make the right choice. Okay. Okay, so let me now, because we're in Tulsa, I promised you another song. So I'm going to ask Paul to come back. And Paul's almost here. Here he goes. He's playing at the Colony. He's done that now for 10 years. And he's at the Mercury Lounge. Paul Benjamin of the Paul Benjamin Band, paulbenjaminband.com. He's got a song now appropriately titled Tulsa Boys.
Where the show up sometime after setting sun. Old guitars and cars that barely run. For a few dollars to play you their tricks. And they'll hold you in a trance with a couple of legs. Well, them Tulsa boys, they be right on time. But we ain't on side, they be doing it right. They be doing it right. They be doing it right. Just climb on stage in your worn-out shirt. Let the rhythm section do all the work. And when the night is through and you're feeling right, they be slipping away clean out of sight. Them Tulsa boys be right on town. They clean on sound. They be doing it right. They be doing it right. They be doing it right. They be doing it right.
Paul Benjamin, ladies and gentlemen, the PaulBenjaminBand.com. The Tulsa Boys are doing it right. A perfect segue. Thank you, man. And a perfect segue to tell you that Tulsa have been doing it right. I mentioned the food scene here. You know, when I first came to Tulsa when I first came to Oklahoma back in 1972, I actually rode into Idabel, Oklahoma on a horse. Can you believe that? Hopalong Greenberg here. I was working for Newsweek. I was riding with the last of the Texas Rangers looking for cattle rustlers. We were in Red River County, and we rode into Idabel, Oklahoma, tied up our horse at the hitching post and went in to a saloon for lunch. I had a ponytail. I used to drive a VW bus. It was orange. So you can imagine how well I fit in, and walked into that bar, a saloon, and it got very, very quiet. They had not seen a Greenberg before. And guess what happened? I'm still getting Christmas cards from everybody. That's what Oklahoma does when you actually have to have the time and the patience to have a conversation. And that was Red River County. Tulsa's a whole other story. And I mentioned the food scene here. Much better steaks here than in Idabel, Oklahoma, trust me. And for those people who remember food in Tulsa back in 1972, sauteed was really deep fried, if you know what I mean. Now, whatever you want, vegetarian, sushi, seafood. It's sourcing is not a problem. The chefs are here, and they're giving everybody else a run for their money. I just thought I'd mention that. Let's go back to a few more questions from you. By the way, another housekeeping note. If I miss you today, you can always still email me to peter@petergreenberg.com. We'll answer it online or on the radio show on Saturday. Again, the radio show Saturday, Eye on Travel on CBS. If you can't find a station in your market, not a problem. Go to our website with the imaginative name petergreenberg.com. We stream it live from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Time on Saturday. Here's one from Gail Huber. Are the rental cars still outrageous? Yes, they are. It's going to stay that way till November when they're going to get some new cars in finally. And it's not just the chip shortage. It's just the actual number of cars they had on hand when everybody came out of the pandemic. Okay, here's one from John. I booked on Princess for a round-the-world cruise, January 22nd. What's the chances of the cruise heading out? Right now, I'd say pretty good. The one thing that no cruise line wants to do is cancel a world cruise. That's their largest source of revenue. I'm not going to tell anybody what you paid for your cabin, John, but you and I both know it's at least 5 figures. So the bottom line here is they're getting ready for that. They're preparing for that. Now, they may be substituting some ports along the way, but my guess is they're going to go. Okay. Beautiful photo of Highway 1. Thank you, Sandy. Gail says, hope to drive the Pacific Coast Highway sometime, maybe when the rental car situation gets better. That's right. If you paid for a vacation through your travel agent traveling in October to Mexico, and if the airfare is going down in September, can you get credit back from the airlines? Well, the answer is yes. However, it's got to be real in terms of the difference in fares. In the old days with the ticket change fees, you'd have to have like a $500 drop in airfare basically to make a difference. But now, with the change fees being eradicated, and one other note I should tell you, If you want to know why the third quarter, I mean, an indication of why the third quarter is dropping, United Airlines just changed the rules again in your favor. Remember, they got rid of all the change fees except for basic economy tickets. Well, guess what? They've now made basic economy tickets part of the no change fee again. So now everybody can roll the dice. But if, let's say you paid $250 for your ticket, and now the price goes down to $200, you can cancel that flight. That $250 gets put into a pool that you could apply to another flight. You just saved $50, didn't you? If the fare is $200. So you can do that. All right. Okay. Oh, what's my email again, Louise? Here it is. It's basically peter@petergreenberg.com. All right. All right. I'm listening again here. Mike Lukens just left Dubrovnik. All right. And where are we now? Okay. Patty Ford says UAL needs the money. Every airline needs the money. But the bottom line is they still took $54 billion of our money. Let us not forget that. And at that point, that was to basically fly a lot of empty planes. So hopefully we're going to come out of this. Hopefully they're going to come back to their senses. Hopefully we're all going to get vaccinated. That's going to make our lives all easier. The bottom line is be safe, everybody. If you get a chance, come to Tulsa. My crew's never been here before. They were blown away. I'm serious about this. I'm not paid to do this. I came because I wanted to, and I encourage you to come as well. Whether it's Route 66 by car, you fly in and go see Paul at the Mercury at the Colony. Great music here. I'm not kidding. All right, guys, we're going to roll. We will see you next week from a different location. I guarantee you it will be, well, let's put it this way. It starts with a T. We're in Tulsa today. It starts with a T. I'll give you one more hint. It's not Tanzania. Now I'm really confusing you, but I'll see you next week. Bye, guys.